Hello, welcome back to Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching. This is Erin. So this is actually my third take. And at first I said yoga, and this time I got away with the yoga, and this time I fucked up transformational. But you know what? It's authentic, and I'm going to roll with it. So today is a short podcast. I wanted to touch base about the importance of getting it out of your head. What is it? Well, your thoughts. What are you ruminating about? What are you continually just thinking about in a cycle? I can't tell you how many people come to me for coaching, and I give them, and this is again, maybe a sample coaching, or one of the first things is you have so many things in your head. Do you have lists? Do you write this down? Do you have it on your calendar? And people will say, well, I know I should. I'm like, do you do it? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, all right, back the fuck up. First thing you got to do is you got to get it out of your head. Why? Because if you have things on a to-do list that is just ruminating in your head, your brain is constantly trying to figure it out and solve the problem. What does that equal? You will continually think about it. And what happens? You burn yourself out. It's true. So, if you don't already have a practice of doing, I call it a thought download or even a thought dump, just write it down, getting out of your head. Even if you're just writing oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, I don't have time for this, blah, blah, blah. Just start getting it out. Give yourself a pressure release. I can't tell you how many times, again, I've coached people, if I had a nickel for every time I coach someone, and it started with, wow, I just have so much going on in my head. I'm so overwhelmed. Hey, let's talk about it. Let's get it out. The thing is, you can't figure those things out and prioritize them unless they're out of your head first. Have you ever tried to clean a room that's just filled with a bunch of shit? It can be overwhelming. So what you have to do is get the stuff out of the room, and then look at the space, feel it out, and then reintroduce some of the stuff, maybe not some of the other stuff, reintroduce some of the stuff and organize it. Right? So it's the same thing with your mind. Now, I give a tool I talk about in my book, both of my books, Thriving After Addiction and the new Journey Through the Dark to Find Light, which is released on Thanksgiving. I also teach this in my course. It is my clear formula. So if you have gotten all your thoughts out and you're okay, I have a bunch of shit in there, but it's out of your head. You can use the clear formula to plug in anything that you have to do and solve any problem. So C stands for circumstance, right? So circumstances are neutral, the cat is sitting on the couch. That is pretty neutral. I can add in some adjectives, but what do I have a thought? I'm oh, he's so comfy and cute. I love him, right? So that's a thought, right? He's so comfy, cute. And let's just go with I love him. Okay, the emotion I feel is, probably guess it, love, C-L-E, right? So C, circumstance. L, look at your thoughts. E, emotion. Emotion leads to action. I want to pet him. I want to love him. And result is, well, I love him more and I've shown him, so then that proves the thought. My action that I took proves the thought. You can use the clear formula. In fact, I've done a podcast on it way back, maybe about 250 something. Maybe 270. You can look it up, just clear, Erin Garrity, and I did a whole podcast on it. But that's one of the tools that I teach in my coach school, which, by the way, I am doing another coach school, January 20th to the 27th. I have 5 spots left. I have another international student, which is awesome. Hi, Michelle. And yeah, it's an amazing experience. It is 8 solid days of working with me intensely, learning the tools, practicing it on each other, and then having it practiced on you, and every single person gets coached by me. In addition to that, you get 3 months of mentorship where you are applying the tools. How many times have you taken a course, learned a bunch of awesome shit, and then 3 months later, you're oh, I don't use that anymore. I don't do that. The purpose of the mentorship is that you apply the tools so you understand it, not just in theory, but with your whole being, not just the intelligence of your mind, but I teach coaching from the intelligence of your body as well. So, if you are interested in that, I am leading that course January 20th to the 27th. Again, I have 5 spots left, 8 intensive days with me. You get coached, you get a mentorship, and then after the mentorship, you get 3 months of mastermind, which is where you put your plans into action and you're held accountable by your group. And we're still coaching each other. This might be one of the most valuable experiences of your life. I mean that. So talk to me. I'll talk you into it because it absolutely changed my life and I've upgraded it so many times. I'm very dedicated. I've cleared my schedule to where I am very dedicated and have time for my students. Ask any one of them who graduated or listened to my testimonials podcast that I did with real people that were in my course on the last day. And, you can talk about their experience or hear about it at least. So anywho, back to this tool for you today. So if you're spinning in your head, get that shit out of your head. Write it down, thought dump, thought download. Use a clear formula. Maybe you can plug it in, or maybe you just prioritize it. By getting it down, you're going to automatically get a little pop of dopamine like, oh, I did a thing. I did something. I got it down. When you do that, you give yourself momentum. When you have that momentum, you're going to get shit done. It is proven. Another little hack too is, and I do this all the time, you've gotten something done, write it down on your to-do list and do a little check mark. Again, little pop of dopamine, just a little tiny one, and then it kind of gets the gears going, kind of puts a little bit of WD-40 on the tracks for you to keep your momentum going. So don't underestimate the value of getting it out of your head. There is a chemical response that happens, and then you can plug it into a clear formula. You can prioritize it. And one last thing I'll leave you with, get it on the calendar. Getting it on the calendar gets it done because you're going to pop open your calendar and you're going to see it. So get that shit done, do it, get her done. I hope you have a great week. And again, you can reach out to me, Erin at erincoach.com for any questions. Thank you for everyone who supported my book efforts. Great success. And happy holidays. Namaste.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Erin at erincoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Last thing, we have a coaching certification coming up. And it's 7 days of an intensive work, followed by a 3-month mentorship. You will not find another teacher that's more passionate and dedicated than I am to my students and their learning. And not just their learning, but the application and how they show up in their life. If you've been listening to this podcast and it's had a huge impact on your life, just imagine what it would be like to spend 7 intensive days with me and then a 3-month mentorship. You can check that out at thriveyogafit.com/coach-certification. Again, thriveyogafit.com/coach-certification. Thank you so much. Namaste.